Hey, you said something that wasn't right, man.
What I said?
The Clippers ain't deep.
Oh,
They
did.
I wanted to bust you.
They're about 7 strong.
I'll give you that. And they're trying to get rid of Will too. So I mean, I don't know.
Hey, they not deep. When you said it, I was like, this not my show.
Yeah, but and that was crazy because nobody said anything about. I was like, I figured somebody say something about the Clippers, but
no.
You know.
No,
same about the Mavericks. I figured somebody would talk about the Mavericks.
The Mavericks. Luka's a problem, but KP is he's unreliable. He's amazing when he's on the court.
That's
KP's
cold
horrible.
white boy.
It's the only caveat.
Yes, it is true.
That's the best way to explain it. Old white boy.
It is.
You just wish you could take everything from me so I don't succeed. You just wish you could see me fall, lose it all so I don't succeed. You just wish I would be ashamed of myself so I don't succeed. You just wish you could take everything from me so I don't succeed. No more L's, more success. Make it well, nothing less. In my bag, think I'm best. You just wish you could take everything from me so I don't succeed. I know the toe, you see me doing a lot.
All right. What's going on, family, man? This is Miles Austin. This is Harden to Paint here on MTMV Sports Podcast Network. Look, we got the family in here. We got some friends in here, and we killing it. Look, we got Into the Lab podcast in here, Not the Same podcast, and we got our family, you know it, Connie Westside. Family, what's going on? How are y'all feeling today?
Good, man.
Last.
Gucci.
I love it. Look, now we're going to hop right into it because we know here at Harden to Paint, we hit them hard and we hit them with the truth. That is our motto. We keep it real, and we're going to talk about the NBA in a way that you just ain't heard it yet. So we're going to jump right into it. The biggest news of the NBA right now is James Harden and his trade request out of Houston. Now, I have a unique perspective here in Dr. E as a Houston Rockets fan. So we're going to get his opinion on trying to figure out what it is, what's really going on with James Harden. Dr. E, you got to share and give us some insight on what's really going on with James Harden.
Yeah, so the truth is that James Harden runs the organization in Houston, right? And Tillman Fertitta takes over and he says, I want to run the organization. And now we have a clash of titans there in Houston. And James doesn't like being told no. You know, after 8 years of being told, yes, whatever you want, you get finally somebody telling you a couple years, no, we're going to change things up. And obviously, Russell Westbrook's a winner. He didn't want to be in an organization that just said, hey, yeah, if you want to take off this tomorrow and then come back, let us know. I also, from a good insider, know that James Harden had permission to go to Atlanta and Vegas from John Lucas, because that was his only contact within the organization to go. And then the COVID rules came out from the NBA 48 hours later. So he had already taken off on the trip. Then they said, just spend your time over there because and I don't know if he had personal trainers. The word trainers is something that's been tossing around now. But we all see him on the court. But yeah, so he had that permission. Now, the fact that he knew there was going to be 6 COVID tests and he missed the majority of training camp and miss a few games, no, he didn't know that. But I mean, still, if everything was in good standing, he never makes that trip. He's in Houston for training camp, and we're not even talking about it. Yeah. PJ Tucker is a good friend of his. They're boys off and on the court, and he's having extension talks with the Rockets, and it's not going well. So that's another riff between Harden, Tucker, and Houston. That's also drawing some locker room concerns.
Come on, give us the tea, bro.
Brother.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. Now, Harden doesn't nearly look as overweight as those Photoshop pictures are, but he does look 5-5 out of shape, and he even admitted that yesterday in his media day when he talked about not being in 5-on-5 shape, and we see that, right? But you see him tonight. He's effective, 60% shooting, 72% effective field goal rate. Man is superstar caliber player, top 5 in my opinion in the NBA.
No question.
Carry a team by himself. So here's the deal, right?
I don't know about that last statement though. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, Houston is the only franchise since Harden's been traded to Houston to make the playoffs every year, right? He's the only franchise.
Give me facts. Doc.
Yeah, most winningest regular season player since he's been traded to Houston. So I caveat regular season because he's top 10 postseason, but nobody sees that because he never makes it past the second round. So
all right, that's the facts.
Not fair to him though. Not fair to him that he's lost to the eventual champion 6 out of those 8 times in the playoffs. But
Yes.
we won't talk there. But
Very
let me go with the trade packages, right? So Philly's left the trade package on the table that center around Simmons, but they want Tucker and Harden back. That's the rumor that we have on the insider. Houston doesn't want to give up Tucker and Harden for just Simmons and picks. So Daryl's playing kind of what he does with his first round picks. He likes to get rid of them, but he's getting stonewalled for Raphael Stone from Houston, that he doesn't give up too much and doesn't get too much. Here's a sneaky one, right? Middleton has been on the table for Milwaukee, and this is where I think the Giannis conversation comes back, because they've promised Giannis a bona fide superstar next time in Milwaukee. So if that's the case, maybe Harden was in their mindset crosshairs. They send Middleton. They need more, though, because Houston doesn't want to settle for Middleton. They don't think they're getting enough back for what Milwaukee can offer. Then, of course, Tyler Herro was offered by Miami, but Houston said, give us Duncan Robinson too. And that was not enough. That was not enough back for Miami. And so we're going back and forth. Here was the special one I wanted to give you guys to kind of debate and tell me if there's other ones you want to hear about. But the wild card, Indiana, came in as a late trade suitor. They offered Brogdon and Sabonis with picks. On top of that, that would pair Harden with Turner and Oladipo in Indiana in the East. And that's being considered right now. That's the latest kind of wild card trade. That's what that broadening to other contenders in the East and West. I don't know the other West teams, but the other East teams, it was Indiana.
I think that trade will bring the East back.
Hey,
that trade right there will bring the East back.
Yeah, there'd be so many contenders in the Eastern Conference if Indiana then gets James Harden.
We want to make sure that we're pointing out all of this, right? As we name all of these teams that he's going to, there is a clear sighting through every single one of those teams. Harden wants out of the West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. He's listed
like,
4 Eastern Conference teams. Right. He does not. Right. The whole reason to leave Houston is so he doesn't have to go through LeBron. Yeah. That's the whole thing. But then you never know in 2 years when half the league is tanking for Bronny, that LeBron doesn't end up back in the East anyways. I mean, he may be a Knick. Wait,
hold on. Who's tanking for Bronny? Bronny's.
No, you're not tanking for Bronny. You're taking for Bronny and LeBron.
His dad. Yeah. He wants to play with his dad.
You're taking for both, and that's
a twofer.
And I've got a hot take when we talk about GOAT status. So we'll talk about that later. But that's my inside the Harden take. So
I'm itching for this Harden take. Go ahead, Miles.
I've already seen it. I've already seen you itching and moving and ooh. So I gotta go to you with everything that Doc said. What are you really looking at from this James Harden angle?
Hey, so my James Harden angle, first of all, he fouled. Honor your contract. But I don't have insiders because I'm not a Houston fan. But just before coming on the show, I looked at 2 teams in the East that could do something and they get something back. So for the Pacers, that was one. But my twist was Oladipo and TJ Warren going to Houston, and then you sending James Harden back over to Indiana, which would pair John Wall with another Bradley Beal type and Victor Oladipo, and then you would have the TJ Warren. Now, if you throw in PJ Tucker, you could still add Sabonis or somebody else, and you're basically sending Houston to Indiana. You're sending Indiana back to Houston. The other one I have, because I'm looking at the woeful Knicks, they have a team full of freaking small forwards. If you send, they got Barrett, they have Toppin, they have Kevin Knox, who seems like he was a bust in my opinion. RJ Barrett, I'm a huge Duke fan. He hasn't been really doing anything. But I will say this: if you send James Harden to New York, you get small forwards back. And once again, they already have a guard in John Wall. We don't know what he's going to do. He's been out for 2 years, so he should be fresh. Boogie Cousins is trying. Everywhere Boogie Cousins go, they turn their back on the man. So the 2 teams out the East that I really think have draft picks, assets that Houston could be cool for is the New York Knicks, and like he brought up, Indiana Pacers. That's why I got excited, because I had already said Indiana and I didn't have any insight. I rest my case.
But look at this.
Hold on. One more thing. Not only that, James Harden is the problem. They've given this man everything he wanted. Dwight Howard, they've given him Chris Paul, they've given him Westbrook, and he can't win. So therefore, I get rid of Harden.
I just quick 15-second rebuttal to that though. That was post-prime Dwight, and he had many problems with his back and his hip. That man had a walker half the season. And when it came to Chris Paul, arguably, yeah, that's funny. Arguably, the Rockets probably should have won the ship if it wasn't for the hamstring. All right, that's a 7-game series. They were leading in both Game 6, Game 7 against probably one of the best teams in the NBA ever. With 4 All-Stars and KD, KD led. Now, that's neither here nor there. Then Chris Paul regressed tremendously the next season, and they had to get rid of him. And then Russ was injured for 42 games out of a 65-game season and into the playoffs. So you really haven't had a bona fide superstar healthy except for 1 year with Chris Paul, in which everybody agrees if there wasn't a hamstring injury, we arguably saying Harden or D Wade, because he's got his ship now. So I mean that's where I think a lot of Harden believers are at with that. Well, can't play with a superstar.
Okay, I got something, and you know what I'm saying, this might be a hot take. This might be something that y'all might try to kill me for, but whatever. But I think that today between Skip Bayless, Shannon, what's your boy name, Kendrick Perkins, and the rest of the jump. Everybody was talking trash about this man today, man. Like, oh man, he's selfish, man. He shouldn't have did this. I think this is a terrible move. Why would he do this? Blah blah blah. First off, man, I don't want I don't want to bash this man because the man did what he did. All right, whatever. But at the same time, like I feel like it's time for him to move on, bro. Real talk. There's literally nothing left in Houston for this guy. He's giving it all, bro. He got MVP in Houston. Well, he got a player voted MVP from the
He's been a finalist for top 5 for MVP last 5 years.
Top 5 for,
yeah.
Come on, man. Like it's
not averaged 30 for the last 3.
Probably should have gone back to back, but we won't even talk Steph Harden. That just not even
right. And then like, even though Houston is a championship city, I'm not gonna bash Houston.
They got banners
much.
They got a couple.
They got a couple, but that was back in the 80s, bro. That was back in the
90s.
It's still old. But no,
I was alive, man.
Real talk. I was a kid when him. I was like 3 years old when they won
back to back
last one. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's time for him to go to a different organization. I do like Atlanta for him. Goes to the Pacers. He goes to the Pacers. I think it's going to be the same old 2-step. He goes to a Pacers team. They might say yes to him, whatever. They're not going to a championship with the Pacers. They're not going to the championship with Atlanta. These are some cities that are not doing no championship. So where do you go in the East to get a champion? You go to the Knicks.
Oh Lord! I mentioned you. Hey, check. I said that. Hey,
you go to the Knicks. You go to the Knicks.
No, sir. Now,
become a champion.
Now, peep game. So as we've sitting here talking about this, everybody has failed to mention the team that he came out first and wanted to say that he wanted to be traded to, the Brooklyn Nets. That was his first choice. He said, "Look, I'm trying to get out of Houston. I want to go play with Kyrie and KD. Give me all your play. Basically, the trade was basically going to be Anthony Davis to the Lakers.
Right.
Give me all your young guys.
Miles, why do you do this?
I want carries,
Miles.
I want everybody.
Miles,
come on, you had to.
You always. Every time I mention the Knicks, you always go Brooklyn. I don't know what it is with you.
I don't know what you want me to do.
You always go Brooklyn.
You guys have fallen by the wayside. You let Brooklyn come in. They took your city. It is what it is. And I don't until James Dolan decides to let go of that team, that's exactly where you're going to be at. Now, I have not heard from my man C. Micah. Now, I want to make sure that we're talking now. He did mention that you want to go to the Nets first. What has changed? Has he realized, look, that's probably not going to happen. Let me choose some other teams. We've all noticed that they're all Eastern teams. He wants to get out of the West.
Right.
What does that look like when the Nets basically have fallen off the table?
He probably woke up and realized that Kyrie Irving is on that team and he is a space cadet. And he was like, you know what? Probably not.
That's a big fact.
That probably ain't going to work. I think he would be best at Philly. Even though I'm not in love with Doc Rivers, I really like their big man. Their big man is super, super beast. But, but it's going to be a lot of building. But he had a good chemistry with Daryl Morey. You know what I'm saying? Morey. Now they gonna cater to him too, and he's used to being catered to. But I mean, he just, they got to give him some pedicures or some manicures, but he'll be all right. Know what I mean? He'll be all right.
Now, look, speaking to somebody who wants to be basically spoiled, and he would look. I need everything at all times. I want to be late to practices. The whole Kawhi, Paul George treatment we talked about that came out later on in the offseason. Let's talk about a player that is completely opposite of that, in Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is just a hard worker. Now, he was blessed, absolutely blessed, with a 5-year Supermax $228 million contract. What does that really say to the rest of the league? And I'm going to start here with Rob. What does this really say to the rest of the league that he signs a 5-year Supermax, says this is my home, when when multiple superstars have moved? James Harden's in the midst of wanting to move out. LeBron changes teams when he feels like it. This is really what the new NBA is about, and decides, hey, look, if I want to be somewhere, I'm going to be somewhere. Kyrie and Kevin decide to go somewhere together. What does that say to the rest of the league? And Giannis says, I'm going to be here and probably try to be here for the rest of my career.
I think what it really says is the world we live in now, social media. It doesn't matter about small market teams like it did in the early 90s or late 80s or whatever the case may be, where everybody wanted to go to New York, West Side. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to be there. Everybody wanted to be in LA, big lights, big city, endorsement deals. So social media has that. The other thing, the one thing that Giannis have and most foreign players do have is loyalty. You got to think about it. Milwaukee came over to Greece and pulled his family out of the trenches, like the slums. I'm not talking about American slums. I'm talking about, other country slums that make our slums look like the suburbs. Yeah. So if you look at that, he has that loyalty embedded in from his parents or whatever the case may be. And I think he just said, hey, look, you guys, you took me, you took my brother and signed him, who's taking up a roster spot. You know what I'm saying? You got all three of us over here in the NBA. My family's in a good place. And I think the loyalty factor, man, something that James Harden, in my opinion, right now it's not doing. But it is new ownership. So going back to that, should he be loyal to that? And that's what Giannis is doing right now. He's showing loyalty.
Definitely. Now, Connie, when it comes to this and Giannis signed a 5-year contract, with that Supermax, does he have to win right now?
Well, it's clear to me that he doesn't want to win because you're not going to get a championship in Milwaukee, dude. Let's just be honest, bro. Like Milwaukee, y'all had the best team in the East, literally the best team in the East, and y'all can't get past.
That's what Budenholzer
Miami. Y'all couldn't get past
60-win Hawks.
Boston. Come on, bro.
Yep.
Come on, man.
So you're at a point when you believe they have no chance at all.
They have no chance. So he's just like, yo, bro, I'm gonna get this bag, and I'm gonna be loyal to these people. I'm gonna get this bag, get this money, and I'm gonna be the greatest basketball player that never won a ring, but yet I got all the money in the world. That's what it's telling me. You a Supermax? Come on, bro. That's telling me you don't want a championship. I want a championship. So what I want to do is go to a championship-led team, a championship-led city, something that's going to say, I'm getting the championship here. Not going to get in the championship no time soon or in his career with Milwaukee. I'm sorry to say it. Now, I want him to prove me wrong.
No.
I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to prove me wrong.
He's close to proving you wrong.
And here's
back-to-back games.
Here's why
he's
I want him
doing something right.
He can opt out in the fourth year. I mean, he can opt out in year 4. So I mean, shoot, he'll be in his prime by then, right?
Is he not in his prime now, though?
I think he's
still
elevated.
I mean, he's MVP 2 years
back.
Two-time.
Yeah, he's
if he gets a jumper, he's unstoppable.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. If his ceiling is still high.
Wait, hold on. Dr. How old is he? You know?
I think he's 27.
35. You know they be lying overseas.
No, yeah. He's probably 35, but I'm pretty sure he's 27.
I'm not mad at
He's 35.
I'm not mad at that. But look, if you so let me just get this straight.
26. He's 26. His birthday just passed.
So he'll be 30. He'll be 30 with a jumper.
Yeah. 30 with a jumper. So look, this is, I want to look at this. After Connie believing that you just will not win in Milwaukee, they have a solid team, a solid coach. They average 55 plus, like 50 plus wins. they're a good team. That's
winning in the regular season. Yes, you're going to win in the regular season. Right. When we're talking about playoffs again, you talk about playoffs again.
You have a new player who is not probably the top defensive guard in the league, in Drew Holiday, who can score better than Eric Bledsoe. They did something, right? Chris Middleton is probably one of the ones I look to say, hey, look, bro, I see what you do when Giannis is off the court. You need to do it when he's on the court. So Giannis isn't the focal point of the offense. Chris Middleton, when Giannis decides to not play and sit out, Chris Middleton wants to go out there and get you 40. I'm like, bro, okay, can I get 25 of that while I'm on the court, please? As a two-time MVP, I need you to be consistent. Now, Doc, are you on the same wave as Connie and saying this 5-year Supermax is awesome, you got the bag, but you're not winning in Milwaukee?
Yeah, I'm so glad I got to wait because I have so much to say. First off, Giannis probably shouldn't be a 2-time MVP. One of those was Harden, so let's just stop there. Cap that.
I feel like
second off,
but that's just me.
Second off, the fact that he's gotten better in the playoffs, let's cap that too. I mean, if he's getting close in the second round, then Harden's gotten close every year in Houston.
Oh, every year.
So I mean, that's a double standard that we hold, that Harden's a playoff choker and Giannis is getting closer. Considering the fact that I'm almost ready to say Giannis can't do it in the playoffs, just like everybody does about Harden. I don't think the play translates. I think he's a great regular season player because in the playoffs, he needs others to boost up in order to succeed. And then they don't, because you don't use them that way all year. So that's just, and you can't bully like you do in the playoffs, not Giannis's way. So he's got to figure out a different way. And I think it was Rob who said, you got to develop the jumper. That's right. He might develop his jumper, but he's going to be middle of his prime, and you're going to have to find pieces around with less money. And you're right. He won't win in Milwaukee. Matter of fact, I think right now Milwaukee has the 5th most talented roster in the East. I can name 4 better right now.
Ooh.
So I don't even know if they get out of the first round.
Give me 3.
Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Boston. All more talent and deeper.
That's all I need.
Hey, I think one thing, Giannis is not going to win. It's not just because of Giannis, though. I'm not a big fan of Budenholzer. If y'all from Atlanta, I know y'all ain't either.
And from San Antonio, too. And from San Antonio also.
Great, just like what he was saying. He is a great regular season coach.
Absolutely.
But then that same style don't work in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, everything slow down. You got to make adjustments. And he don't really make great adjustments.
Here's what happens.
And their front office is like incredibly dumb. How did you mess up the Bogdanovich trade?
So
how did you let go of Malcolm Brogdon?
Malcolm Brogdon was
they're slow, man. Like they don't get it.
I just have to say one more thing about Giannis in Milwaukee. Like, he signed the Supermax, and people are saying, that's fantastic. He wants to bring a championship to Milwaukee. I actually am more on what Connie said. I think he signed the Supermax to get his money, and the championship is not really that goal. That's not his goal. That's the Harden mindset. I run this team. This team goes through me, and they're going to be as successful as I am, but it's not going to guarantee a championship. When I'm older, I'm in my prime. That's why he signed the Supermax. I'll be able to pair up and team up wherever I want to go, or I bring them here. But this contract, this is not a win now move. This is a win in my prime, because he can't win right now.
So the next 4 to 5 years of this contract is just I'm gonna play
4.
2. I say 2 because you don't know what they're gonna do after Middleton has his option. You don't know what's going to happen once Holiday's contract is up. You don't know what they're going to bring in, what goes out. So I'm going to say 2 because right now they're kind of cap held. But then when it's just Giannis at 40% of the cap in 2 years, and you got to figure out, are we keeping Middleton? Are we going after another star? Is Harden available now? Who is Lillard available now? Like, who are we looking for? That's when I really think we're going to start seeing what Giannis is all about. I think we're still before the prime, and before we're going to see what he really turns out. But then you're going to have Luka right behind you, and Trae Young right behind you, and all these superstars coming up right behind you, and younger and hungrier. And so what happens then? Are you going to be able to do what LeBron does and come out and fight your way off and make people fear you? And Fear the Deer is gonna have to do something.
Oh man, I love it.
I mean, that's so I don't know. So I don't know if y'all caught the last show with the huddle up, but Sean Tanner, a track star, said, after LeBron leaves, who else? There's going to be no superstars. And by you saying that that's true. There's going to be no superstars after LeBron leaves, man. You're absolutely right. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at the teams that Giannis is going to be playing, and the teams that probably gonna be looking for somebody within the next couple years or whatever, Giannis is not gonna be at that elite level that LeBron is. LeBron played elite since 17, and he still looks 17 with gray hair. You know what I mean? Like, you still look 17 years old, bro.
That's all.
Pray on.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
so,
I
don't know.
If you think about the East, right? Just the East. Let's not even dissect the West because I know we're gonna do that in a little while. But if you just look at the East, and I'll stop talking because I talk too much. But you look at the East.
No, you got it, bro.
And Middleton Giannis is better than Embiid, Simmons. No, right? No. Middleton Giannis is better than KD, Kyrie. On paper, no. If we see this year that chemistry-wise are also good, then no, all the way around. Yeah. Are they better than Toronto's Lowry and Pascal Siakam? Yes. You could say, okay, they win against Toronto, but Toronto's had more chemistry and they've had more winning seasons in the playoffs in recent years.
Jimmy and Bam.
And then you say, okay, are they better than Tatum and Jaylen Brown or Tatum and Kemba Walker in Boston? Or you say, is that three together better than them two? I think Boston's better too. So that's really what you're comparing. And when you look at the future, most of those are going to still be together if they're successful. So how do you have to get rid of Middleton?
They got young nucleus there.
Yeah, and Middleton got paid. So
you're
in a cap. You're just in a cap hold. 80% of your cap is between two players. Same thing with Russ and Harden. 80% of your cap was being held. How do you build a winning team?
Terrible front office.
That's definitely. But don't we see this though? Don't we see this often in the NBA where you're looking at the landscape and you're seeing small market teams who? This is why the Supermax was created. So they have something to put on the table to say, hey, please stay here, and don't jump to these big market teams. We want these little market teams to get some more exposure. We talk about the Pelicans. I don't know if the Pelicans getting the number one draft pick that year wasn't something like the Pelicans had the least watched. They're the least watched team in the NBA. The owners of that team own the Saints as well. They didn't care about the Pelicans until Zion got there. Like it wasn't even a thing. So when we're talking about these small market teams and Supermax being invented for them, we see this often where you give 30% of your cap room to the guy that you don't want to leave because you want to put butts in the seats. You don't want to lose money. Now, as we talked about LeBron and what he's done for the league for the past 17 years, that's something that's unprecedented. Like he's been good since 2003. Like, and we've noticed that. So I asked you that. It's a great segue into into the LeBron talk. After him winning his fourth ring and coming into the NBA this year, approaching the offseason, the Lakers approached the offseason like they lost the championship. And this is what I love the most about what was happening in LA. Rob Pelinka went out and said, "Look, we're not settling because if we remember, last offseason we waited for Kawhi, and we ended up messing around and getting the people that we could. We got some great veteran players, but they weren't our first choice. Let's be honest here. But they were solid. They picked them up. So as LeBron tries to go for his fifth, there's a very good chance he goes. With the pickups they made in the offseason, there's a very good chance. See, Mike, I'm gonna start with you. When you look at LeBron, if he gets his fifth ring, what does that do for the conversation of GOAT? Does it put it next to him? Does it put him at the table? I would pray that all of us in agreement that he's on the Mount Rushmore basketball players. But what does that do for the GOAT discussion?
I think the GOAT discussion has already started, and I am pro Jordan, but it's already started because he never would do it the same way Jordan did it.
Definitely.
There's no way he can go 6-0. Like he can never go 6-0, but he's done a lot of other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like he's more of Jordan was a pure scorer, period. LeBron is a complete player. He's not perfect, but he's complete. Yeah. And he knows how to make a team better. You know what I'm saying? Jordan had to learn that. LeBron came in the league like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna go and say he's gonna get 5. Who's gonna beat the Lakers this year? They're better. They're better this year.
I will receive everything you're throwing at me, sir.
They're better this year.
I appreciate it.
So after 5, then the discussion gonna be okay. Now he's gonna get 6. Now it's gonna take 3 different teams, but I still think he's in the discussion. Now it's gonna be the old heads that would never let him be better than Jordan.
Oh, never.
And they won't have a solid reason why. Because you're gonna go to the stats, you're gonna be like, okay, he's better than this, he's better than that, he's done this with these people, and they're gonna be like, well, he's not my Jordan, because I saw Jordan when we didn't have HD and he was great. Right?
Big fact.
I saw Jordan and I saw his dominance, and
big fact.
No other player has that. Maybe Russell Westbrook without the talent, but the mentality that Jordan had, right?
Yeah.
LeBron don't have that, but LeBron is for the new school. And I think it's going to be a bigger conversation about him being a GOAT It'll never stop. The reason there's a conversation because he's threatening the throne.
Oh, for sure.
If you weren't threatening the throne, wouldn't be no conversation. He's been threatening the throne.
That's definitely, and I've always been on the side of I would always go Bron to Magic, or Kobe to MJ. I always thought these are two different positions, two different mentalities, and two different mindsets in the way they play basketball. I would always say definitely, and that's the thing. Like I would be like, Bron, you are Magic. You're a more athletic Magic, and Kobe's probably the closest thing we've seen to Mike in mentality, footwork, how he approached the game. He was just methodical about everything that he did. Now, are we on the same boat? I'll go with Rob. Are we on the same boat? We know that he's on the Mount Rushmore, but does he go for 5 this year? And if he gets 6, he'll be 6-6. I think honestly, now you correct me if I'm wrong, 12 finals appearances is just as impressive, even with 6 L's in there. Because look, I don't count 07. I really don't. You were supposed to lose. You weren't supposed to be there in the first place.
It wasn't.
You got swept, and you got swept for a reason. I remember the conversation.
That says a lot about him being there in 07.
Right.
That says a lot about him being there in 07.
Oh, for sure. With that trash team?
It did. Yeah,
definitely. I remember the little brief video after Timmy's like, look, bro, you're going to be the face of this league. Keep being who you are with your team. I love seeing that. Appreciate you letting us have it this year. And they both bust out laughing. Like, so when you see that, I don't count 07. You were probably, even with the Spurs coming in, the Dallas thing is probably the ugliest mark on his record. That was just, it shouldn't have happened. But if he gets 5 and 6, 6 and 6 in the finals, obviously like the old heads like C. Michael was talking about, are not going to let him outlive the 6-0. But what does that do? If he gets 5, and we're in agreement that he's probably close to 5 and probably going to get 5. What if he gets 6? Where are you at then if he comes up 6 and 6 in the final?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say about LeBron. Everybody forgets that Jordan left and went to the Wizards. And I think when he went to the Wizards, how old was Jordan? 30 what? 38, 39.
You're right.
He was old.
Yeah, he was old, right?
He was old for NBA standards.
Yeah, but old for NBA standards. If you parallel that to LeBron, he's the same age because LeBron came in way earlier than Jordan. Jordan came in 20s where LeBron came in teens, if that makes any sense. And every team that LeBron has been to, he made them better. Now, I'm a Jordan head. One of the people on our podcast said, ain't nobody getting killed over no LeBrons. As far as GOAT goes, as far as Jordan. And Jordan's going to always be on the top for me because like you said, I saw it. But what LeBron is doing now, I have Mike and I have LeBron, then Kobe. And it's always been like that for me because people forget how many shots Kobe put up. You know what I mean? Like Kobe shot a lot of shots. You know what I mean? And he wasn't necessarily a facilitator. He wasn't a facilitator, but LeBron everywhere. The trash team when they lost against the Spurs, then he still was going to the playoffs with Cleveland with nobody. Miami, of course, we got championships. Then he went back to Cleveland with nobody, and now they're just winning with the Lakers, and he's gonna back to back again with 2 different teams. So Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, he's already up there because I only can go by what I saw.
Definitely.
Jordan, you know what I'm saying? What I'm seeing. I can't go back to Earl to Pearl and all of them when there was no 3-point line and you can dribble forever. That style of basketball wasn't for me. Then there's LeBron soft. LeBron is big as ever. He could, if he was in the league when Jordan was in the league, LeBron would have made it. He just would. He would have conformed to it.
I appreciate. Let's just take. I want to let you continue to speak, but I also want to make sure that we speak to the rest of MV Sports. Bron would have made it. He's 6'8", 260. It's not a question. Yeah. To all my old heads, speaking of Will Smith specifically,
I think Bron would have been fighting a little bit more than what he's doing now.
6'8", he's running through people, man.
Go ahead, Rob. The league that we in now is soft, man. Even the goons are soft. You know what I'm saying? Like the goons nowadays,
That's a big statement. That's a big statement.
Think about it. The goonest of goons really not gonna do nothing but get in your face and say, "Oh, you know what I do." No.
Big facts.
Think about what I do.
They were do this in the 90s,
bro. Goons in the 90s, Little Rod Strickland and Muggsy Bogues was punching cats in the face and wish you would have said something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So my point is this, man. I got all respect for LeBron. I didn't like how he quit on Cleveland. I didn't like how he quit in Miami. Like the way you just walked off on your team, I didn't respect that. But I'm done. I digress. Yes, he will be under. To me, it'll always be Mike for that reason, and then LeBron. But LeBron can play in either era.
I definitely love it. Doc, you in the same boat?
I think all of it needs time, to be completely honest. I think 20 years from now, we'll say LeBron's a GOAT and MJ's too, just because generations are going to pass and the emotions are gone. And now it's all about facts. And even then, right, at that time, the emotions will be all about LeBron. So that let me caveat that. And there will be a small Kobe transition in there. But I kudos to Kobe because Kobe did so much for the game. I think if you look at it on paper, LeBron's better statistically in almost every category, and you can even look at clutch stats. It's true he beats Michael in almost all of them. Yes, he doesn't have as many rings, and Michael went undefeated, but Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson, guys. Who has LeBron?
Who has LeBron?
Let's keep it 100, Doc.
Let's keep it 100, Doc. LeBron James has carried his head coaches to championships, and then they've gotten better. Ty Lue, come on now. Yeah. I know he's a head coach now, but come on now. Eric, rookie head coach Eric Spoelstra, come on now.
Let's go, bro.
Come on,
man.
So,
give it to him, bro.
And I don't want to talk about all the other ones because we could just pick on them, but we're talking about LeBron. LeBron's done more for social injustice as well. And he's spoken so much off the court when Michael would keep his mouth shut about stuff, which is why I hold LeBron a tad bit higher. Although on the basketball spectrum, I still have him next to MJ. Overall, his footprint in the NBA and in the world, LeBron James is the GOAT for the NBA as a world ambassador.
Hey, that's a drop the mic moment right there, bro. I can't even.
Big facts. Big facts.
Just one little thing.
Hey, now, I understand, Connie, you're chomping at the bit to get at this. Let me hear what you got to say about LeBron.
I do have a hot take, though, so after Connie finishes.
Definitely. We'll come right back to you, Doc. Let me know, Connie.
All right.
If you win 5, what's your take? If you win 6, you got to give me that, too.
All right. I'll start by saying this. Sainthood goes to Kobe only because he's not with us no longer, and he was just an anomaly. Jordan, what he did for the game, GOAT. Bron wins that ring. He's merging with that. Bron is submitted as the king. But he's submitted as the king. But if he get that next ring, now he's in the conversation of being the GOAT. I was with Doc the whole way until he said what he did for social justice. Let me tell you something. I'm black in America. I understand. I am black in America. But at the same time, bruh, be a basketball player. I'm not the one that says, I'm the one that says it. Shut up and dribble. I just need you to dribble, bro. I need you to give me these points.
Okay.
I need you to do this. Now keep in mind, I love the fact that he has done a lot for his communities, because that's something that you want to do. You want to go ahead and put money into your communities. You want to go ahead and put money into things to help other people and pay the way for folks. That's how you pay the way for folks. But when you jump into something with the social justice, I'm like, bro, you're killing my spirit, because the thing is, you're leaning to where everybody else is leaning. So you're not a free thinker out there. So I don't want the social justice thing to be on this list. But what I do want, huh? Everybody says it has to be.
But what you're saying that he did for what you're saying that he's doing for Akron, and what he's building schools and his scholarship funds and everything he does for community, that is also part of social injustice.
Yeah. No,
because inner city, it's a bigger topic, but inner city living has such a non-privileged way of growing up compared to outskirts and suburban life, and LeBron's trying to bridge that privilege and opportunity, and so I consider that part of his social injustice resume. So I know it's not how it's labeled in the media, but that's part of it. Like that's what he does.
Again, Doc, I will agree with you on that part. But the only thing with the social justice and with the social work that he's doing, some of the stuff that you're naming, like building schools and creating like educational lanes for people, black people have been doing this. The thing is, this has been done by a lot of people before us. I mean, community fund. I mean, and this is talking about people that work in warehouses, people that are working in shops. You know, people that own little businesses and shops here and there.
So for you, it's the celebrity.
It's the celebrity. It's not so much the fact that he's doing social justice work. I want him to be able to do something and not do what everybody else is doing, making it popular and trying to lean a certain way. Let's go ahead and make that. Let's go ahead and do what we're doing here, and let's make a difference with what I'm doing. Because like the thing is, Doc, what you got your PhD in?
Sports analytics.
Sports analytics. Doc, I need you to give me a dissertation on why soda is bad for the liver. Can you give me that?
I mean, I could.
Oh, whatever.
So, I mean, I just have to look up some journal articles and some meta-analytic articles, and then I become an expert.
I'm just saying.
But I mean, I understand what you're saying. But look, there were a lot of social topics, and this is too big of a conversation for this episode. But there's social topics on Michael Jordan, shut up and dribble, where he should have probably said something. The Last Dance highlighted one. I don't remember what it was, but there were many circumstances. Now, Michael Jordan also gave up on playing basketball middle of his career. Took a hiatus in the middle of his career. LeBron never did that. And Michael Jordan also had Space Jam. LeBron has it too. All right. So we want to talk about celebrity status. Like they're neck and neck. There's only two players ever to lead against cartoon aliens, and that was LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I mean, we're gonna include celebrity it's the truth. So look, at the end of the day, he's gonna get his 5th ring with the Lakers. I don't think he's gonna lose another final. All right. And then on Father's Day, after he gets signed wherever he goes, where Bronny gets drafted, on Father's Day, he's going to seal up his 6th ring. And that's the hot take, is that it's going to be this huge, momentous father-son ordeal at the age of 38. When Michael was 38 and he went to the Wizards, at the age of 38, LeBron joined up with his son and won on Father's Day, got his 6th ring, and he surpasses MJ. That's the anointment of the king.
That's a hot take.
So is that, wait, hold on. So that's the GOAT. Is he the GOAT after that?
That's the GOAT. That's where I was leading to the whole thing. That's where he's announced the GOAT.
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I like it.
If
That's
that
crazy.
plays out, LeBron is the GOAT. And if it plays out, they already knew it was going to go like that.
I did it with my son. Who could say that?
That's it, right? Wins it on like June 19th, Father's Day, middle of summer, gets his 6th ring, he's 38, where Michael couldn't come back and make the playoffs. LeBron won his 6th ring with his kid. That's it. It's over.
Can't beat it.
Like that's the mic drop for him. And then he fizzles out.
I absolutely love it. Now look, we could talk about Bron to we're blue in the face. The whole GOAT conversation. I'm at a place where I believe he's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. I would put him as the GOAT, obviously, but I'm also, that's my era. That's what I saw. I didn't see Mike play. I saw The Last Dance. I got to see highlights. I saw the mentality. I watched Kobe. Kobe was in my era as well. And understanding for me, Mount Rushmore, he's at the table with in the GOAT conversation. Now, as we talk about Bron possibly getting his 5th ring this year, it looks like as a consensus across the podcast is that he's going to get his 5th. They approached off season like they lost it. They got in, brought in good pieces. They're better than last year. So I won't get into the Clippers because that's a whole different conversation. But if we're talking about who's coming out of the West and the East, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I want you to give me the team coming out of the East and why, and the West and why. And I'm gonna start with my man West Side. I'm gonna start with you. If you say anything about the Knicks, I'll mute you and cut you off.
Cool, thank you.
I'm just saying.
Of course, the West is gonna be represented by the guys on your hat.
Well, God bless you, brother.
And why? Because they just the more superior team in the West right now. As far as the East goes, man, I'm gonna lean a little bit towards Brooklyn, man. I believe Kyrie and KD are going to come back on the court, ball out, and find that chemistry, and it's just going to be a show. The Nets are not foreign to the NBA Finals. They have been. So I feel like the Nets will be there representing the NBA Finals. It's going to be another Lakers-Nets matchup.
I like it. See, Mike, what we got, baby?
All right, on the West, it's obvious it's the Lakers. I think it's going to be sweep city all the way. They may have one good series because they just so the last year team was very, very good, and this year team is like even more ridiculous, like just ridiculous. For the East, I have a surprise team.
Come on.
I'm saying the Heat, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying the Heat, because they did it last year and nobody thought they can do it. Dragic was not playing, and they got to the finals.
That is true.
Dragic is gonna be back. Harold's gonna be better. The rest of their team gonna be better.
Bam is a problem.
Bam is a problem. He may have a jumper now. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And Jimmy Buckets, here's my crazy highlight. I think he is the illegitimate son of Michael Jordan. So he got some GOAT blood in him. And if you want to know about this, just go to YouTube and just dig that up. I'm just saying.
I like that.
Austin, I'm sorry.
What you got?
I forgot about Golden State, man. Golden State totally left my mind.
You forgot him for a reason.
Right.
I'm just saying.
There was a reason.
Curry's back, bro.
They won't make the playoffs.
I'm watching them right now.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm watching them right now, and they're struggling with Sacramento.
I am excited about Curry being back. I'm excited about the high fade and the braids. I'm loving it. But we know the writing's on the wall. Look, even with your number 2 pick, it's not. We get it. You might get a high pick this year too. They may be. I honestly say if they play maybe 10th or 11th, they'll get some wins because Curry's a monster. But I digress on that. Rob, East and West, who you got, baby?
All right, so look, I'm a follow with C. Micah, and I'm gonna say the Heat for every reason that he said, and I'm gonna say the Lakers, but
not your hat or your shirt or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, hold on. The shirt is not the same podcast.
Oh, okay, my apologies.
But it matched. I coordinate like Pops. So check it out. On the flip side, no injuries. It's gonna be the Nuggets. And it'll be the Nets. If injury takes place to any of the teams that the Lakers or Miami, it's going to be the Nets and it's going to be the Nuggets because
Nuggets are an interesting team.
And they picked and they, if I'm not mistaken, they added a piece to it that can help. No. They got Barron back because he didn't go down to the bubble.
Oh, Will Barton.
Barton, yeah, and he's their goon. Every team has a goon. Jimmy Buckets is a goon. That's something some of them other spots don't have. And Jersey don't have a goon. I'm sorry. they just don't.
I like
Jimmy
it.
Buckets
I like
is a
it.
different type of goon.
I think Murray is an absolute problem. He continues to ascend. The bubble that we saw, I don't think was a fluke. I think he's an absolute problem. Donovan Mitchell is on the way. I think they kind of stay middle of the pack with Rudy Gobert in that system they have there. But we'll see. Doc, I'll give my take on both right after Doc gives us his.
Yeah, I think it's the Lakers to lose in the West. I think it's the Lakers to lose overall. I'm going to call the winner as the Lakers because the Lakers are stacked 11 deep with players that would be starting on any other team. So it's the Los Angeles Lakers.
I love when you get Dr. Analytic. I love it.
I listed them out, but there's too much time for that. So not enough time for that. So Los Angeles Lakers. I do want to give an honorable mention, and don't sleep on the Rockets. All right, guys. If Harden decides to stay and buy in, that Rockets team is deep. And it's very talented. They just need a superstar to lead it. And if Harden decides to opt out and Ben Simmons comes back, that's still a talented team. And they have the 27th ranked schedule this year. So they got Milwaukee's schedule. So that's they can easily have 30 wins by the All-Star break, and they're the 3 seed. And you're like, where did Houston come from? So just watch out for the Rockets.
They're dangerous.
Yeah, I do think the Nuggets are deep. Steph Curry's never led a team by himself, so I don't think they'll make the playoffs. But let's go to the East. The East is going to be Philadelphia. Philadelphia has the most consistent culture. They have their 2 stars coming back, arguably superstars. By many standards, superstars top 15. And so, in my opinion, I think Embiid and Simmons both you could say they're top 15. If you,
it's not
if you can do a hot take, you probably try to find 13 better players. I think you could, but I mean, some would probably argue it. Now you added some championship pieces from the Lakers. Danny Green is there now. Dwight Howard is there now. That's some championship culture. Daryl Morey gets his championship roster to himself, and then you add a man who's been there and won it in Doc Rivers to lead that team and get through some of the struggles. So in recent years, Doc has been pretty terrible, but you've got to think that with Daryl finally getting to the finals, they're going to lose it. they'll lose it to the Lakers if they got there. But by finally getting there, he gets another step in his resume that my analytics are almost there. And then I didn't even mention Seth Curry. I think somebody just said it a minute ago. But yeah, Seth Curry adds a whole nother element to the outside. So just stretching the floor. So I just think analytics and the right pieces. Philadelphia comes out of the East. And like I said earlier, I don't think Milwaukee's even in the top 4.
Sheesh, not in the top 4.
No, I think Toronto finishes with a better record.
Yeah.
Wow.
Giannis need a jumper, man, and so do Ben Simmons. But what you
agree?
The problem to me is that I see Ben Simmons and all the warm ups and highlights and TikToks and IGs, and he's just pulling up, swishing, whoop, right in your face. But you never see this in the game.
True.
I go Ben, look, bro, you look amazing in practice. Are we talking about practice? This is what we're talking. This is what we're talking about here.
It's Philadelphia.
I need Ben to
Right.
do something more. Now, do they have the pieces to do it? Adding a Seth Curry, a championship pedigree, and Danny Green, the White Howard, who was definitely solid for us. Put that Knicks down. You got to put that down, bro.
Oh, 2022.
They may not even make the playoffs. They probably don't make the playoffs. But look, let's be honest here. Out of the West, I'm definitely going to say the Lakers. I'd be remiss if I said any other team. However, what I do want to mention is that all 4 of you guys have not said any words about the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, they have a solid team in Kawhi, Paul. They're deep. Obviously, when I don't know if it was just you, but as a diehard Laker fan, when I saw the news about Montrezl Harrell, I dropped my phone. I had no idea. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Where did that happen? How did this happen? LeBron made a phone call in the middle of the night and said, bro, this is where you need to be at. Let's make it happen. Out of the East, gosh, I mean, Doc made some really good points about Philly.
Is it me or does he look like 2 Chainz?
Who is it?
Is it Montrezl Harrell? He look like 2
Montrez.
Chainz.
Montrez got a little swag to him. He's a dog. Like, so I appreciate that. We needed that.
Yes,
We need that on our squad. So I'm gonna say that. But I also do, before I get to the East, I also want to mention, just like Rob talked about, the Nuggets. I think they're a solid team. They get better. I think losing Jeremy Grant was a bad loss, but I think it opens up the door for Michael Porter Jr. So I really want to see what he does this season, how he approaches it with getting a bigger role potentially, and if he's going to eat that up. Because I would think that Michael Porter Jr. would do the same that THT is doing right now in LA. He's eating up the minutes that he's getting. He's showing up. And for people that don't know, that's Taylor Horton-Tucker, who is absolutely killing the preseason right now. What that means for the deep team that we already have and what minutes he's going to get throughout the season as a 20-year-old, I am not sure, but we got a nice little spot on the bench. And on the nights that Bron and AD have to rest with a 72-game season, we're really going to see what he does if he takes it. Out of the East, gosh, man, I wanted to say Philly. I've believed in Boston for so long, and it hurts to even say that as a Lakers fan, but I have wanted for the last. Me and Derek even made a bet on this year. We said we buy whoever loses has to buy the other pair, a pair of retro J's. But Boston failed to get there, and I didn't get anything, so I was sadly hurt. And but I mean, gosh, man, Boston has the pieces and the coach. They just can't seem to put it together in the postseason. Milwaukee, obviously Miami is going to be absolutely great. And depending on what happens with James Harden and where he goes, we'll probably determine that right now. But if I'm going to say everybody stays healthy and chemistry wise, you got to go with the Brooklyn Nets. They have the pieces. They're a solid team. You added 2 superstars. I mean, that just kind of what it looks like, man. But so if I would love to see Celtics and Lakers in the finals. We'll probably end up seeing Nets and Lakers if everything works out health wise. Like Rob said, probably Nuggets and any other team that stays healthy and has young players will probably be there as well. So I'm down here gonna go with the Lakers. And if I had to pick, I'll go with the Nets with Philly at a close second. Doc, you convinced me a little bit. Shoot, man. But look, I want to appreciate you guys for coming through here on Hard in the Paint, man. Absolutely had a great time. Everything that we talked about, Hard in the Paint exists so we can talk about the NBA truthfully, without any bias, without anything that's coming in and saying, look, well, this is a little soft. We're going to talk about the facts. And obviously, Dr. E brought them all with Mr. Analytic over there. Absolutely.
I may have had a little bias though, so I apologize.
Oh, no, and I understand, my guy, definitely. But as we end it here, I definitely want to make sure that all the fans who are watching this, MTMV Sports, Harden the Paint, get at least a way to reach you guys with Not the Same Podcast, Into the Lab. Both of these podcasts are doing absolutely amazing. And we love it. We welcome them. We appreciate them. We honor those guys for doing what they're doing because all of us being in the same arena. Doc, how can everybody get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find the podcast on Wednesday nights live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, but at Into the Lab Pod, and respectfully in all those platforms you can find us, and Wednesday nights. And then of course you can follow me at Doc E. I have it as Doc E, the future PhD, because I'm in a PhD right now as well, so I'm trying to motivate myself to finish it. So for this organizational leadership PhD, so trying to finish that one. And so I think we had one last little thing to say, and here's my thing to say real quick. Hakeem Olajuwon asked for a trade in 1992 from the Rockets because he said, I can't win with this team. And 2 years later, he won a championship. He wanted to go play in Portland with Clyde Drexler. As you know, Clyde Drexler ended up coming back to Houston and winning back-to-back, or winning the second title with Houston in 1995. Harden said, I want to go play with KD. Don't be surprised in 2 years when KD and Kyrie don't work out that KD's in Houston and they win that shit back-to-back with Harden staying. So there's my history repeats lesson for anybody non-Houstonian.
I like it. I love it. I always bringing it, man. Look, Not the Same Podcast, my brothers. See Micah, Rob. How do we get in contact with you, brother?
Oh yeah, Rob, since you got the banner behind you.
Yeah. You can look up notthesamepodcast.com. We're live every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live. On Twitter, we're Not the Same Pod, just the same way that Doc was saying. But if you put in Not the Same Podcast, we pop up. My last little take about what's on your mind is the COVID going to play a huge role the way it's doing in the NFL because the NBA cannot shift games back hours and days with back-to-backs and whatever the case may be. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting moving into this season without a bubble when everybody can be free open, and a lot of these stadiums want to put fans in them.
Thanks.
Definitely. See, Michael, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, I just did on everything you said, man. Look us up. We're doing a podcast. We have fun. We laugh a lot, and we keep trying to do this thing. We love coming on with you guys because we talk sports probably 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah, out of an hour show. Yeah. So but we're sports fans all the way down, and our older listeners get mad and see, and we talk about that book that he got in his hand, the ESV. We talk some Christian stuff, some faith, and then we talk a lot about CHH, which is Christian hip hop. So if you enjoy some of those things, come check us out. And as for sports, look, man, my last topic is watch out for the Memphis Grizzlies. That's my team. I love them. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy about Ja Morant. I've never had a superstar, and this is cool. I don't know what it's like, and I hope the Knicks don't try to come take them later or any other big market because, NBA love to poo-poo on the small markets. But if you got a smart front office, like I've been saying, like the Spurs used to have, you can win in a small market.
Definitely true. Connie, Mr. Westside himself, how can we get in contact with you, brother? And if for people who don't know, he produces all of our shows. He's in collaboration with, I believe, Will, who's coming up and doing video and audio now. But Connie's who started it, who's continuing it, who's kind of headlining it. He is a valuable member of the team. He does all the production here at Harden the Paint. Westside, how do we get in contact with you, man?
Well, Paul Revere will be coming through your city soon, so I told him to get a message. So how you gonna reach me? You go through him. He's gonna be on horseback, so he's gonna be like West Side coming. West Side coming.
Silly. I saw you have an IG now, or at least
I have an IG now, guys.
You made something. Tell people your IG. Stop playing.
Man, my IG is Connie Westside _best. Just follow me, man. Like look, I'm not a social media guy, but I made it just for this reason, so we can go into the year with IG connections. Of course, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's where I have to do the podcast and everything. And of course, you can follow me. You can follow me on YouTube. I mean, honestly, it's just them. I'm just like, it's really all the people that I work with.
Yeah.
And I'm just like sitting there like editing. So yeah.
I'm not mad at it at all, man. Look, this is Harden the Paint. I'm Miles Austin. You can follow me on anything. I am Miles Austin. MTMV Sports, The Huddle Up. There's every Monday on Facebook and YouTube Live. You can check us out, man. We're trying to do some crazy things here, just like Into the Lab and Not the Same. We're just trying to get on here, share our opinions, and hopefully we can get on and share your opinions as well. And we could talk about basketball. Here we talk about basketball. MTMV, The Huddle Up, we talk about everything. So whatever you want to talk about, you hit us up. You could come on the show, share your opinion. You can hop in the Facebook chat and talk to us. It's interactive like that. But what we want to do is be able to be in a space where we can share our opinions on sports and give somewhat of a Christian biblical view to it when it all boils down to it. We don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. We want to point you in the right one, and hopefully it's to Laker Nation. So it is what it is. Absolutely love you here at Harden the Paint. My guys, Doc E, Rob, C. Micah, Connie, as always, I appreciate you guys. You guys keep checking us out, man. Harden the Paint. Y'all be safe. Peace.